floor restaurant. Its objectives, criteria, site analysis, grading of each site, and our selected site. So here we have the project objectives, which provide spaces such as restaurant, retail units in a mix of large and small spaces in a five-story commercial building. So we have the project requirements, which includes the area of each space with the number of users. We also have the different goals for each space, which is to provide a productive, convenient, and good quality experience with their designated activities.
So in determining our best site, we will be basing it on the minimum site selection criteria categorized by the physical and socioeconomic factors, namely the access, transport, and utilities, hazards, and market area. Our scoring ranges from poor to excellent, poor being the lowest, and excellent being the highest, and a 3-point system as it helps make the decision process making simpler by giving merit or demerit to the site if they can or can't reach the criteria. Now, in order for us to achieve the highest rating on our sites, particularly under access, transport, and utilities, the site needs to be convenient, to be highly accessible in that it is easy to reach, whether it is by vehicle, by foot, or by bicycle with no obstructions, or at least it is nearby terminals or bus stops if the users do not have cars or bikes. It also needs to be in close proximity to a road right of way, as this provides access to water supplies, sewage lines, power lines, and telecommunication lines. Now, for hazards, site needs to have little to no susceptibility to, in this case, hydrometeorological dangers like floods, landslides, and storm surges. And for market area, the location of the site needs to sufficiently support the growth of the development. The office buildings and the users should be within the 2 to 3 kilometer radius. Now, if the site does not fit or only partially qualify in these descriptions, they may not get the highest point. Next slide, please.
Okay, moving on to site analysis. The three sites we saw promise in were IT Park along Jose Maria del Mar Street and V. Padriga Street, and two sites in Ayala, one in Negros Road and another in Mindanao Avenue, which we will call Ayala 1 and Ayala 2 for the sake of brevity. So the elevation above sea level for IT Park is 46.8 meters, while in Ayala it's 33.9 meters above sea level. So the following are characteristics common to all three of the sites. All are located within well-established and thriving business districts. The next thing we notice is that all three have low chances of flooding, landslide, or storm surges occurring because they are located away from the coastal areas. Another thing we noticed is that both Barangay Apas and Barangay Luz have decreased slightly in their population by 0.34% and 2.58% respectively in the year 2020. Another thing we noticed is that young adults, specifically 20 to 24 years old, which is they are the largest population by age bracket. They are also our target demographic, as young adults tend to be the entry low-level workers who will end up using these offices. However, IT Park has their working force living much closer to the site compared to Ayala, which the residence is a bit farther. Lastly, one major difference that we notice is how wider the roads and sidewalks are in IT Park, which contribute to lesser traffic and the better circulation overall compared to Ayala, which is often congested with traffic.
For the point system on access, transportation, and utilities on IT Park have 1 point due to having a walkable distance, good traffic, accessible pedestrian accesses, and adjacent to RRO and abundant in utilities. On Ayala 1 has 0 point because it exceeds the 400-meter comfortable walking distance, and on Ayala 2 has 0 point due to a decent amount of utilities. For hazards, all sites scored 1 point as there's little to none flooding, landslide, and storm surge events to happen. For the market area, all sites scored 0 point because they have a decent population and there's a decrease in population. For the total of each site, Site 1 has 2 points and Sites 2 and 3 have 1 point. Next, please.
The site that we chose is Site A, IT Park, which is based from the grade we receive in the table, having the highest score. So to further add why this site is better than the two, it has good traffic flow, smaller population decrease, shaded on the south side by taller buildings. Target market lives near to the site, so has bigger lot area and larger sidewalks with crosswalks. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, good. Excellent. Let's see. We have a few minutes, so go back lang daw. Back to the first slide. Okay, good. So Kanisha, objectives, goals, very clear. Next. Next slide, sorry. This one is good. So how the criteria is selected. Um, I guess it's a bit kanang wordy. Maybe we can simplify it a bit further sa final. Just one keyword, like instead of sites reach is vehicle dependent, you can just say like vehicle dependence. No PUV terminals present are present or far away, like limited PUV access, something like that. RRW is distant, that's good. Little to no supply of utilities, that's good. 20 to 30-minute walk distance from target market's home. So you could say walking distance na lang from target market's homes. Oh, no, the 20 to 30-minute has to be there. So maybe 20 to 30-minute from target market. Ano na lang, to make it like shorter. Oh, freeze ako phone. Okay, that's 6 minutes and 20 seconds. So next slide. The other sides are fine. I don't think there's any problem with that. Okay. What I'm gonna be targeting for next week is we'll probably discuss, if we have time today, how to create slides or like graphs in Google Sheets so that you can unify the data. Because like currently we're just using screenshots. If we can create the data from scratch and then use Google Sheets, it will look a lot better. Okay, so temporary grade for visionary is perfect for me. So very good. We hit the ground running. Next group is Sige, Algoro, Servacio, and Misa. Let's see here. Nakapil ba si Chu sa inyong group?
Yes, sir.
There.
Okay, there you are. Okay, sorry. It's just read on my class list. Okay, after Sige, Alburo, Servacio, and Misa is Aldana, Atienza, and Bendicion. Double check lang ko. Let's see here. Calling again, Atienza. Are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. So, kamo is next group after Ani. So let's see here. So the next group, next. So next group to present now is Sige, Alburo, Servacio, and Misa. So what is your group name? Sige, Alburo.
Hello, sir. Sorry.
You guys have a group name?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's Kwan, sir. It's Team Berland.
Timberland. I don't know the reference. Okay. Timberland. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Sige, recording. You have 7 minutes, so you don't have to go so fast, but okay na po. If you can do it under 7. Timer
Alright.
starts when you're ready.
So this is our presentation. So for the first part, we have the objectives. So so it has here the objective to create a 5-story low-rise office building that contains a commercial restaurant and retail stores. So it also explains here like the things needed to achieve the said goals of the in creating the building. So yeah. Then we have here the second part, which will be discussed by Kevin.
Hello. For this slide is the site selection criteria. We were supposed to put like descriptions for each of the criteria, but we're currently revising the description for each pa. So we didn't na lang put the description. So next slide, please. So here are the sites that each of us selected. Each of us have put the analysis, but since we noticed sa first presenter sir na you said na we have to like kanang dili kayo wordy, So
Mm,
each of
yeah.
us have to have yet to summarize everything into something that
Mm,
isn't too wordy. But we have put na the everything na analysis sa each sa site na we
yeah.
have
Just try
nominated.
to summarize what's going on in each site.
Okay. So site 1 is located in wait, let me see, in IT Park in Apaslahog. So basically the physical site is okay since it is located in a fairly flat topography, and it's located in a an urbanized area. For the access and transport it's uh, accessible lang sad, and the traffic there is fine. For the hazards, um some drop curves are slightly steeper than the allotted requirement, so more lang ang main issue. And for the demographic, uh, it parang naka-acquire siya sa target na age group, which is 15 to 64, which the target market for the office building, and indicates that the target market can easily access the site chosen for the office and retail development. Then for the site 2, it is located in Poblacion, Hinunangan, Southern Leyte. The this is um a developing ni municipality. For the physical site condition, it is located in a fairly flat topography, Rasad. Although the soil it is kind of uh filled, like it used to be a rice field. So wala yung issue. Then for the access and transport, it is accessible lang sad for both pedestrian and vehicles. For the hazard, it according to NOAA, um it is very susceptible to floods and a high hazard level for storm surge. And also there aren't that much sidewalks, and it's very dark at night na naglack siya og street lighting.
Mhm.
And for site 3, it's located in Maasin City. For the physical site conditions, it's also located in a fairly flat topography. The neighboring structures are low rise, and that it receives an ample lighting lang daw, according to Elijah. So access, transport, and utilities, it's the same for the rest. It's fairly accessible lang sad for both vehicles and pedestrians. For the hazards, the city proper in front the sea area, therefore it might cause multiple problems. And according to NOAA also, it's indicated here in red, so it is susceptible to storm surge. And for the last site, it is located in Simangan, Ormoc City. Um, it is an inside lot and located in a fairly flat topography. It is located within the kilometer radius near the Robinsons and an urbanized area also. For the access and transport utilities, it is fairly accessible lang sad. And for the hazards, accident prone area are due to multiple incoming vehicles and different direction of single one. And for the demographic, I think to summarize everything, all sites fits the uh demographic na daghan og population of 15 to 64, which is the age bracket na which can utilize the office building. That's all. So
Okay.
the next presenter will be Ferl Angeles Sige for the site selection criteria.
So for our site selection criteria, sir, I think it is also too detailed, so we will still revise this for our final. For
Mm,
site number 1, it is located in IT Park, so it basically has all the utilities the, has a flat topography, but it falls short on the demographic factors, which is 25% of our criteria, since the residences of our target market are usually far from the site. For site number 2 and site number 3, they fall short on the vulnerability to man-made and natural hazards, since site number 2 was previously a rice field and site number 3 is located in a semi-urban location. But for site number 4, it basically has everything based on the criteria that we have created. So Georgia Misa will explain slide number 5, sir.
You have less than 20 seconds.
Uh, Lower, okay, thank you. So, in conclusion, Ormoc City Simangan is our chosen site because it is feasible, safe, and suitable location to build on. And the abundance of space, greenery, natural light, and lack of natural hazards like floods, landslides, and storm surges are important environmental aspects, as well as thriving demographic factors such as increasing population and annual income of the area. The accessibility by foot or vehicles has greatly impacted the rating of the site as it was near to most prominent establishments such as a shopping mall, bus van terminal, schools, restaurants, and residential areas. These establishments invite access to adequate lighting, local transportation, lodging, and apartments and carinderias. That's all, sir.
Okay, good. Before I let you go, Motosha, it's a bit too detailed, so not a time. Let me just check your kanang scoring process. Kanang slide with the scores. Let me see, zoom in a bit. So more. You can't, it's really hard to read. So, there. Okay, so you have a 3-point system now, 3-point scaling na system.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 3-3-1-3 for geographic characteristics. Then vulnerability is 15%, availability is 15%, down is 25. Okay, scroll down pa. Okay, so when you calculate everything, it's should end up to 100% ang A, B, C, D, E, 5 factors ninyo. Correct ba?
Yes, sir.
66, yes, sir.
66, ha? Wa siya abot og 100?
Wala, sir.
Go back up daw. Why only 66? So if you're going to do like a grading like that, it has to total 100. So if it's 66, it's kind of like kwake without missing numbers. So 20, 15, 20 plus 15.
Kanang sir kay 100%, pero for the unweighted score, sir, kay 66 points, sir.
So 66 out of 100.
Ang unweighted, sir, kay 66 points niya. Ang weighted score kay 100% ang total.
Okay. So why show the unweighted?
Ang kanang gipakita ng both, sir, like naubos sa
Yeah. Pero why show the unweighted when you're just going to have the weighted total? For comparison na?
Yes, sir. And based
Okay.
sa among previous outputs.
Okay. So did you notice na if what did you notice relationships unweighted and weighted total? Is it usual na if high ang unweighted, does it mean higher ang weighted pod? Or is it what came up?
More or less, sir, the same report ang results.
Okay. Sige, good. So for me, I think medyo redundant na siya to show both, and we're really trying to kanang make use of all the space on the screen. So maybe simplify lang. And then with this, it's very kanang big bitaw. I don't want to kanang reduce the information here, pero with a limit na to of 5 pages, maybe we can just summarize the 5 factors, total lang, and then in another page, we describe what's in the different 5 factors, something like that. Okay, if you go back to page 1, yeah, it's very wordy. The page 2 is kind of blank, medyo empty siya. So maybe here ni mo explain in yung grades. And then page 3 is your site analysis. So if you simplify that further, so everything on page 3 should be related to like the site. And then when you get to page 4, should be showing the calculations na, but like in a more legible way na dili maglisod og basa inyong client. And then site selection, final page is your chosen site. And then I think you should just show lang po the total scores. Here, the ranking is like this. Pero kanang the sites are very small compared to the text. We're trying to look at the site man. So kana sigurong edit. For me, this one, the data is there. The data is very well researched. Representation is a bit weak. So, tentative score of 20. I'll review again later tonight because I made the deadline for this, I think 11 p.m. or 11 p.m. tonight. So if you want to do changes, you can. You have until like 11 tonight. Let me double check on this end. Okay. Oh, I made it 4:30. Huh. I'll just make it 11 lang put. I made it 11 sa PCAS na classroom, or I forgot. 11:50 p.m. Okay. In case like people didn't finish. Okay, next group. Let's see here. Next.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. So sayang ang research without if you can't present it. It's also the same problem with like a bunch of our fifth years, and they have so much data, but they can't present it and analyze it, and it ends up being kind of useless. Okay, the next group is Aldana, Atienza, Bendición, and Mandalupe. I think we have a question. Was there a question? Malinaw. Pwede ra. Let's see. Nag-present naman silang kuan. Who's this? Who's representing? Group Nocturnal. Who's Group Nocturnal?
Group 3, sir.
Okay, this is Group 3. Okay. Then after Group 3, ni-request man si Pauline na sila sunod. What is your kuan? Pauline Malinaw. Where is Malinaw here? You're Group 10. Pwede ra, Group 10 will go next. Ganan will go next. Confirm lang, Pauline?
Yes,
There we go. Sige. So this is Team Nocturnal. You may start when ready. You have 7 minutes. I'll start the timer when you start.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are Group 3, the Group Nocturnal, and we will present our site selection presentation. Okay, next slide. So for the project objectives, an office serves as the center of coordination for different operations within a company or an organization. Thus, the project should be able to respond to the target market, to withstand the extreme weather conditions and natural disasters, to allow flexibility of different office operations, and to create an opportunity for businessmen to expand, relocate, or establish businesses. So for the project requirements, the office building must have the following. 1, an accessible location close to other commercial buildings. 2, parking area to office workers, suppliers, and clients. And lastly, adequate spaces for retail units, office spaces, and other facilities. Next slide.
So for the site selection criteria definition, so we are gonna base it on the site context, site compatibility, and the proximity to hazards. So under site context, that would be like the size and cost, the access and utilities, the land use regulations, and for under compatibility would be the proximity to desired market, the political environment, and for the hazards, that would be the topography, the flood susceptibility, and the noise pollution.
Okay, so for site analysis, which site? So the first site is located in Lahog in Cebu Veterans Drive. So for our analysis on this one is that first is the site is located in a commercial area, C1 to be precise. Second is it is easily accessible through an adjacent highway. Third is it is surrounded by houses within its immediate vicinity, as you can see in the image. And fourth is it has an access to various amenities and utility services. In addition, it is quite close to two barangay halls as well, so it is much more favorable in that way. And the fifth one is that high-rise buildings are scarcely found in its vicinity as it is mostly surrounded by houses. So as of now, the only high-rise building located close to it is Marco Polo, which is also a also a commercial and residential at the same time. And lastly is that the percentage of residents age 15 to 65 years old in the barangay where it is located is 65.54%, thus suggesting a high percentage of this amount as being part of the workforce. So for the next site, it will be presented by another member.
So for the second site, this is located in Bernard Avenue, Ozami City. So this is also located in a commercial area, mainly mga low-rise buildings and other business establishments, and also some residential houses. And it is also accessible to power, water supplies, waste treatment utilities, and telecommunication lines within the 2 kilometer radius. And also, since it's located to highway, the transportation is also it's very accessible for the transportation. And according to Project NOAA, its location has a medium flood level, little to none in landslide occurrence, and a high storm surge level. And since the site is very visible, it can also serve as a visual landmark since in that area wala kayo mga high-rise office buildings. And also, members of the workforce constitute a total of 70.04%, are around ages 15 to 64. And the population has also increased according to the 2020 census. And that's all for the second site.
For the third site, it is located at Barangay Tiguma, Cagayan City. So the site is located at the commercial area. It's close to the main road where most vehicular traffic leading to the city and outside the city is located beside the road leading to the city airport. It has access to utilities and services and is surrounded by residences within the 2 kilometer radius. The current population census of Barangay Tiguma constitutes of 66% of residents ages 15 to 64, which is the current workforce in the in the area. So the future developments are to take place in the area, making it an advantage in the long run. Increasing residential zones surrounding the area, indicating an increase in population. Setting an office building here can add opportunities for the residents of the area, and the building itself will serve as a landmark since the area mostly have low buildings, and a high-rise building will surely become a sticking uh, stand out. So the office building of both public and private sectors are also located near the site within 2 kilometer radius, which is the NFA and the Land Transportation Office. So that's all for the third site.
So for the fourth site, it is in Bogo, specifically in Taytayan, which is roughly a 2,000 square meter lot located within the proximity of a mix of residential and commercial establishments. The site's location is within an area where there is an increase of residences, specifically to the west as well as the south and north. Hence, this may be indicative to an increase of population. The current population census states that Taytayan constitutes of 62.65% of residences. Uh, of ages 15 to 64, which is of working age. Hence, the placement of an office here would adhere to job opportunities within the area. The site is also accessible as it is near the main road, roughly only 100 meters away, and can be accessed through cars or motorcycles. The traffic on the way to the site is not inherently troublesome either, ranging from fast paced to mid. The site is also surrounded by already pre existing commercial establishments, which is a walkaway such as the Bugu City Centrum and several other smaller shops and carinderias along the lining of the main road, and within a 2 kilometer radius, there's the bus station and the Bugu City Hall. Next.
So for the table showing points or grading of each site, we graded each site from 0 to 4, which is 4 being excellent and 0 is unacceptable. So for site one, most the total score is 23 points, which is the total of the site context having 2, 3, 3. The site compatibility is scoring 2 and 3, and the hazards as 3, 4, 3. So for the site context, the site one has a fair score or a score of 2 for the site size and cost, access, and utilities. And for the site compatibility, the site one scored 2 also. So for the site
Ay,
2,
it's time. Pwede ko na i-click ng hide button there. Okay, I can't see the total. There's a stop sharing and next to it is hide. Kita ka na? Kada whoever is sharing the screen. You see googlemeet.com sharing your screen? Yeah, you can press that hide button. Yeah, that's actually a button. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So na time na, just give me the score who won. Site 4. Hello, Eds. The mute.
hello sir.
Yeah, site 4, and then you have the conclusion, like who, like which site wants, and is that correct?
Yeah. Okay, sir. So for all the sites, site 4 scored the highest, scoring 24 points. Site 1 scored the second, and site 2 and 3 scored 22. Uh, site 1 and 3 scored 23 points, and site 2 scored 22 points. So for the site, for the selected site, based on the grades that we shown, we selected site 4.
Okay, okay. Sige. So just going back, go to slide 1 again. This looks good. This is like the decent amount of text. But maybe you could already start introducing your sites here because you have that blank space man sa right. Or makasave mong space sa next slide. Okay, going next. Next. Can you see there's a lot of information here. I'll probably increase the number of pages for the final so we can really see the site and the population. We'll talk more about population after everyone's presentation. Tentative grade for group Nocturnal. You went a bit over time there, so but the data is there, so I'll give you kanang 25. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next group will be Katod, group 10 with Alatraca, Malinaw, and Torifiel. Do you guys have a group name?
I think I'll answer. Tam?
Okay, right, the group name can go later.
Okay.
Yeah. Sige.
Anyways.
You have 7 minutes. Oops, let me reset. Stop. Reset. And I'll start counting when you're ready.
Okay, that's it. Let's start.
Go.
Yeah. So good afternoon. I'm Brian Salatraca, and along with me will be Pauline Marino and Nina Tarafil. Next slide. So we have our project objectives. We have gathered around 7. I would not read everything, just some. So first would be to select a site best suited for a 5-story office building with a commercial restaurant, preferable in a business and commercial district. Also, to select a site that is not prone to hazardous events like flooding, landslides, and storm surge. And lastly would be to be located in an area that will increase productivity and customer interactivity that will benefit the project economically. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, so this would be our site selection criteria. We have 3 categories. We have the access, transportation, and utilities. This is to ask if it is easy to reach our site, and proximity to the road right of way. Would it provide access to water supply, sewage lines, power lines, and telecommunication lines, because this would be a office building. Next would be hazard, so in terms of flooding, landslide, and storm surge. And the third one would be market area. If our location of the project would support the growth of an office building. So for the access, transport, and utilities, we would much favor if the site would be easily accessible for pedestrians and vehicles, close to public transport terminals, and highly accessible to utility systems in the vicinity. For hazard, we would favor that the site would not be prone to flooding, landslide, and storm surge, making it secure and safe. And for the market area, we would favor that the site would be surrounded by an ample number of retail establishments and other infrastructures, and also the vicinity to be highly populated for a huge number of consumers for the project.
Now we will be discussing the site analysis. On the left side, it is the site analysis for the city, and while the right side, it is the analysis per proposed site. So first, we go sa left side. It shows the population demographics of Cebu, showing that Cebu has about 0.93% increase in population from 2015 to 2020. As for the gender analysis, it has higher rates for female than male. And lastly, for age group analysis, the highest is ages 20 to 29 years old. The maps also shows the landslide and flood hazard areas in Cebu. Thus, the proposed site is located in low landslide hazards, while for the flood hazards, they are in moderate flood hazards area. As for the right side, all three sites has decreasing population density per barangay. But the age group population for Set A has higher rates in ages 15 to 24 years old, while Set B and C has higher rates in ages 20 to 29 years old.
Hello.
Hello.
There.
So for the grading, for the site A, it has a score of 1 for access, transportation, and utilities, and also for hazard. While for the market area is 0, so with a total score of 2. Then for site B, it has 1 for all the criteria, and also site C. So it has a tie between site B and C. So we narrowed it down to the selected site is site B, which is located in Jose Maria del Mar Street IT Park because of these reasons. So for access, transportation, and utilities, compared to site C, site B is a corner through lot, which means there is an abundant access to the property. Because site C is a interior lot, so it would be covered by the other buildings. So the proposed office building will be easily noticeable to the public since it is a corner through lot. And for the hazard, the project is a five-story building surrounded by taller buildings, making it less prone to be hit by strong winds. And the site is surrounded by trees, which could help with avoid heavy floods. And in NOAA, it is little to none um, pro, prone to hazards of flooding, landslides, and storm surge. Then for the market area, it is concerned cornered location is conveniently accessible, which serves beneficial to the customers and employees, and its location is an IT park wherein consumers are heavily populated. That's all, sir.
Okay, good. You did it under time. The only thing I would change is that if you have a selected site here na in the previous slide, tie sila, you can basically have like a tiebreaker, or much easier, you just reduce the point of one of them. So go back to the previous slide. So Kanisha, this will be confusing like in a presentation with your client. Now, why did you go with site B and not C? The easiest solution would be here is just deduct a point na lang from site C. Or you could explain how did you break the tie? How did you kind of choose site B or site C? Since you guys are here, what was the kanang, why did site B win against site C?
I kind of said it in the because site B is a corner through lot, while site C is an interior through lot.
So it's lot type.
Yeah.
Lot type is the one. So that will probably be access, transport, and utility score. So you can make site C kanang what do you call this? Just zero lang, zero. But then that would also mean site A is also zero. Okay, it's not. Site A is a what? What kind of lot is site A?
Interior lot.
Interior lot. So even less accessibility. So you can put that as kanang standard as a zero. So naog si accessibility sa site A and C, para madaog si site B.
Okay.
When I explained this in corner through lot has a higher score. Okay. Let's see, market area. Okay, then a hazard. Okay. You could probably like include like lot type sa future na sites. But anyway, the presentations were very good. You reported under time. Ang kuwang na siguro is to make it a bit more engaging. You're clocked in at like less than 6 minutes. So kana na siguro. For your group, I think I can give you a 30 as well. Yeah, just minor changes lang to make it a bit cleaner as a final. And remember, final, we have one more step. Now that we have selected a site, we'll do a kanang zoning map for that site. Like where will the building be? It's very easy. Okay, it's just a commercial building. So I guess we drew the footprint, and then the question is which side of the road or which side of the road right of way should the restaurant be? I think that's the only question. The only question for this kind of building type, because the upper floors are typical with different arrangements of rooms, and the basement is. Oh, another question is where should the basement parking or the entrance to the basement parking, where should it be located? So that's something we'll figure out next week for this particular site, Senua Site B, and for the other groups as well. Okay, good work. Tentative score for group 10 is 30. Okay, let me just encode that. Next group to report is, sorry, I'm just typing. Next group to report is Aldana, Atienza, Bendición, and Mandalupe. Wait, are that already reported, di ba? Natura, team Convena. Sorry, I didn't fill it in on my
Yan.
slide here. Cabanero, Herrera, Alesna, and Rialda. Sorry about that. Nocturnal, Manilis, Nocturnal. So Cabanero, Herrera, Alesna, and Rialda. Rialda was absent during the formation of the group. Was she able to join or contribute to the work?
Yes, sir. The presentation is there.
Okay. Sige, do you guys have a group name? There. Lululemon. Okay. I like that. Okay. Timer starts when you start reporting.
Yes, good morning, sir. We are Group Lululemon. So next slide, please.
So as for the project objectives, for the first one is to identify if the site selected is feasible for the development of the office building. The second one is to analyze the integrity of major landmarks to the development in close proximity to the site. The next one is to ensure that the site is selected as access to major services from different utilities. Next is to identify the different negative impacts of hazards on the site in order to mitigate future risks. And last is to determine whether the site is easily accessible to major roads and different modes of transportation.
Hello? No ang audio. Hello?
Sorry, sir.
It's my internet.
Next is our site selection criteria.
Atara.
So first off is accessibility. So we want it so that's easily accessible for employees and customers. So most importantly, it needs to have a right road right of way. Then next we have the utilities. So basically this refers to water supply, sewage lines, power lines, and telecommunication lines. Next is hazards. So the site is away from like hazards such as storm surges, not prone to landslides, proper drainage system in the area to counter flooding. Next is market area, improves function of land uses, and is within an area that supports a new office building. And finally, we have transport to, so we're looking at the ease to reach the site for construction materials, as well as proximity to supply facilities for the restaurant. Well, we'll clarify these in our actual site selection criteria. So next slide, please. So here are the sites. So our first site is here on the left, which is in IT Park, La Hogue, Cebu City. So to summarize its strengths, it's IT Park. So it has our road right of way already, and it has existing utilities, and it's located within basically a business district with high vehicular and foot traffic. So and another strength is that it's the population is increasing, as you can see there in the lower left images. So that's also another strength, and it also has its own storm surge which handles the rainwater. So you can see there also a diagram there, the site location As you can see from the diagram, there is no orange or red.
Okay, good. Amrag dawa na po audio. Hello?
And the residential buildings in the business park
Hmm. Medyo lag yun si Brian. Can someone fill
are
in
too expensive.
sa inyong group?
So for aside na to. So for the second site, sir, kay sa Cebu Business Park, so sa Ayala. So the strengths are that it's located within a business district side, so there's high vehicular and foot traffic. So there are also large roads. The northeast winds pass through the lot and has an existing waiting shed. So the weakness was katong we identified earlier nga there were trees in the site, so those would have to be kanang uprooted or nya ibalhin somewhere else. So that was one of the weaknesses. Then it's in the residential area for these level of the managerial level will be quite far from the site. So next slide, please. So for the third site would be in Mambaling, so katong by SRP. So the strengths are that it's a progressive district, which is defined by world-class commercial mixed future developments. It's strategically located to link north and south of Cebu. So it's close proximity to a chapel, SMC sa nga mall, Cebu Ocean Park, and mga residential and retail developments. So the weaknesses lang is what you identified was that the water near this site is contaminated, so there's a lot of pollution. Then it's quite low pa for public transportation, which would pass the site, so it's gonna be a problem. And then for the fourth site will be North Reclamation area in Tipolo, Malawi City. So strengths are that it's developing. It's located in a non-bustling street, so less noise. There is public transportation within 3 kilometers, and there is no heavy traffic. Weaknesses lang is that it's near a large body of water, so kuya if mag storm surge, access to the location is not direct from the main road, so it's more mo suok pa ka somewhere in the back roads. Then the walkability from transportation terminal is discouraged because there's no proper pedestrian lanes in this area. The next slide, please. So this is our table showing the points of grading. So for accessibility, site A has over 20%. It's 24 over 24, so 20% the perfect score. For site B, kay only 19.16%, site C 15%, site D 13.33%. So for the utilities, we graded it over 30%. For all sites, they got the perfect score of 30. For the fourth category, safety and security, kay over 20%. The first site has 18.75%. The same with site B. Site C would have 12.50% and site D at 15%. So market area, the over the 30%. The first site is at 28.75, second site 25%, third site 22.50, and fourth site at 16.25. Next slide, please. So for the total, my bad. For the total, katong first site 97.50%. So this is the selected site that we chose because, in the end, it's more like the most suitable due for an office building since there are already a lot of office buildings here in this site. Compared to the second site, which was in Ayala, there were more identified problems compared to this site. So this is the one that we selected in the end. Thank you.
Okay, good. I would consider give you guys consideration kay naglag ang usa ka members. It's just under 7 minutes, so I won't count you as kanang late. Very good. So if you do the same sa final presentation, you should be okay. Don't have much questions sa presentation. Let's see. Yeah, it seems very kind of direct. Let's see. So for this group, this is uh, Lululemon. Lululemon. Okay, I can give you guys a 30. Oh, gutom magkalit. Okay.
Sir, present ako, sir. Wala ko
Yeah.
ka attendance ganina kay ni sugod uguan na niya ang internet ito kind of
Yeah.
laggy.
Sige, sige. No problem.
Thank you, sir.
So, finish 30, 30, 30, 30. Next group is Ang, Lim D, and Reston. Are you guys here?
Yes,
Ang,
sir. Yes, I'm
there
sir.
you are. Sige, share the screen. So yeah, I'm really glad that everyone's using the population graphs. Our next step, I guess, would be to like synthesize that data into our own graph instead of like screenshotting. We'll probably do that like next week. I'll just introduce the steps today, and then we'll practice that next week together. A discussion on governance and also kanang what do you call this? Who's in charge on the provincial, regional, and municipal level? Okay, go ahead. Timer starts when you're ready.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. So this is our project. The land use for this project is for a land development for a 5-story office building with a restaurant on the ground floor. And the objectives that we identified are we have to establish good circulation and traffic within and outside the site. And we need to consider ventilation and also sun protection inside and outside the building because it is an office building. And it is required to have a pleasing architectural character to serve as a landmark for the project. And some of the requirements are convenient vehicular and pedestrian accessibility to the site. So it is good that there are proper roads in that by that development and also sidewalks for the pedestrians. And it is preferable that it is within an urban area for access to utilities and proper roads. Since it's an office building, usually internet is really required and signal, so it is difficult for that access to be taken from rural areas. And most importantly, it should be near some business districts. And these are some of the site coordinates for sites 1, 2, and 3. Next slide, please. And these are our site selection criteria. For the physical attributes, we consider in accessibility the convenient transportation and traffic. So we give points to how much vehicular and pedestrian accesses towards that site. Next is proximity to utilities. This is the nearness to the RROW, providing access to the water supply, the sewage lines, the power lines, and also the telecommunication lines. Then for access, then for the safety, this is security against the floods, the landslides, and the storm surges, which we can identify in the hazard maps later in the site analysis. For the socio-economic attributes, the market area, we identify this as the nearness to the business districts. So we determine that from the distance between the site and also the districts. Then next is the stakeholders, which is the nearness to the customers, employees, and managers, so the residential areas. Next slide.
So for our site analysis, here we have Site 1, Site 2, and Site 3. Site 1 is located in Barangay Bakilid, which has an area of 1,701.45 meters squared. Site 2 is in Barangay Dus, which is 1,254.58 meters squared. And Site 3 in Barangay Lahog, which is 1,702 meters squared. For the environment of these sites, Site 1, for Site 1, there are not many green fields, but they still do exist. And they also have surrounding trees and vegetation in the residential areas. Site 2, the environment has plenty of green fields with vegetation, and despite being a developed business district, because this is located in Cebu Business Park, the surrounding area still has plenty of trees and other vegetations. For Site 3, there is a big green field of vegetation nearby, as well as empty lots with vegetation, and there are also plenty of trees and vegetation on the surrounding area. For the hazard maps of each site, here it is shown. Each site is a quite safe
Safe.
from hazards
Mm.
because they are in geographically flat areas. The population of age group of each site is mostly increasing in the 20 to 24 age group. For the Barangay Bakilid lot, the population is decreasing, as well as for the Barangay Luz lot, while in the Barangay Lahog lot is increasing. For the strengths and weaknesses of Site 1, the strengths are, yes, it's geographically flat, and most people living in the barangay are working age, which is 24 to and above, and it's nearby between and in between multiple business districts such as Oak Ridge and J Center, and it is accessible by the main road. However, its weaknesses are it has a decreasing population and a lack of shade from the sun due to the lack of trees that are like very nearby, and it's nearby a residential area. The strengths and weaknesses of Site 2. Strengths is it's in an existing commercial district. It's geographically flat, and the population of Cebu Business Park, which is good for like customers, and the employees are around the working age. The weaknesses are the area's population is going down, and it's near an intersection, which is there's a possible build up of noise and experiences from traffic, and it also has a lacking of vegetation and competition between other commercial establishments. The strengths and weaknesses of Site 3 are it's a mix of commercial and residential areas. It's geographically flat and nearby some establishments, and the population is increasing. The weakness is it's an enclosed area which is away from the main road, competition between other establishments, and low-rise buildings around it. Here's our table showing the points or grading of each site. For Site 1 and Site 2, we have 3 points for accessibility, while it has 2 points for Site 3. For proximity to utilities, 3 points for Site 1 and 2, and only point 0.1 for Site 3. For safety, all of them have 3 points. The market area, Site 1 and Site 3 only have 2 points, and Site 2 has 3 points. And for stakeholders, all of them have 3 points, which gives Site 1 14 points, Site 2 15, and Site 3 11.
So our final selected site is Site 2. Site 2 is located in Cebu Business Park, Bohol Avenue, Cebu City in Cebu. The area is around 1,254.58 square meters. And Site 2 is a through lot, which means that it is accessible from both front and back of the lot. The lot is noticeable and it's near a major road, which is convenient for vehicular and pedestrian access. There is little to none hazards in terms of like floods, landslides, and storm surges. The site is surrounded also by other tall buildings, and the location is near commercial and residential areas. Furthermore, the location in Cebu's Business Park is populated
Time
with
now,
customers,
Danielle.
employees, and managers. Yes, sir.
Okay, so a bit
That's
over
all.
there. Bro, that was a very good presentation. Could you, before you close, could you go back to your how you score the slide showing like how you give the points? I think that was slide 3 or something. So back lang, back. Hello. There, this one. So this is, I think, the best one I've seen today. Let me stop the timer. Like you have the description, accessibility, and then you have the different points, and then you explain how those different points are sort of received. So they only get 1 point if they have no vehicular access. They get 2 if they have 1 point of vehicular access, and they get 3 if they have 3 points or more, 2 points or more of vehicle pedestrian access. So very simple, very direct to the point, very clear. So a lot of I think na overloaded ang uban with data. If you can simplify it to something like this, I think this is the best way to go. Especially like if you're going to like present to a bunch of like mga office workers, mga lawyers, mga doctors. Something like this will be easier for them to digest. We can't kind of like confuse them with data. Libog sa somewhat. Anyway, this is excellent. I don't have any questions about the presentation. I also like the fact na ipakita gyud ang NOAA. So for those group, I think we had one group with so much words. Just show an image of what you mean, so it will go faster. So another 30 points for you guys. I think just shorten lang siguro the site analysis part so we can have a bit of room for the final part. Now we'll add later next week the zoning inside the site. So where will the entrance be? Where will the restaurant be? How will you divide the different spaces within the site? Okay. So next group, let's see here. So let me just write down properly. So Ann, Lim, and Reston get 30 each. Next group is oh yeah, wait. I had one question. You showed an image on your first slide. Sorry, Ang Lim and Reston. I wrote something here. I forgot to ask. Could you show your slide again? The first one with the sort of map with the different colors on it. What were those colors kanang signifying?
It's a topography map, sir. It showed like the
Topography map.
thickness of the land, yeah, like above sea
Ah,
level. Then we use that as reference for the safety.
okay. So what did the colors mean?
Green is safe. It is
Green is safe.
it's
Okay.
approximately like 20 to 30 km above sea level, so it's generally safe there. Then like as it goes to red, it's like higher.
Unsafe. Okay.
Yeah,
So most of them were green.
elevation.
So okay. That was a very good map. I really like that. So maybe you can also maybe you can share the link there sa tong chat for everyone. Also for me. Okay. Sige. Next group here. Let me check my list. Baharias, Cortez, and Dakoykoy. After that is Boringa, Carvajal, and Patriarca. So Baharias, Cortez, and Dakoykoy. I got your message, Cometa. Okay, I'll update your attendance here. Sige, but Baharias, Cortez, and Dakoykoy. Group 6. Do you have a group name? Wala ra.
Na sir, the walkers, sir.
Walkers. Okay. Walkers.
Daywalkers.
Daywalkers. Daywalkers na lag. Okay, timer will start when you're ready.
Okay, ready na siya. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. So for the site selection process for the proposed 5-story office building with a ground floor restaurant. So for the project objective, the office must respond to the climate of the area and must also enhance the quality of the site. And another point that of the project objective is the building must cater towards an existing target market. And the site must also be located away from physical hazards such as floods, landslide, and storm surges. The site must also be accessible by POV, private vehicles, and pedestrians. And lastly, must have access to basic utilities such as water, electricity, and telecommunication lines. So these are the goals that for the project objective that must be present in choosing a site. So for the next slide.
So good afternoon. So for our site selection criteria, we divided it into 3 categories: physical, socio-economic, and hazard. So for physical, we have accessibility just for ease of access with a pedestrian and vehicles to and from the site, and visibility just so na wala yung impeding na something from to and from the site. And third is location. So it should be in it's preferred na it is in a CBD, Central Business District, or it is a brownfield, in a brownfield area. So what is utilities? There should be basic utilities available, and it is excellent if it has water treatment or chilled water And for transport, the RROW should have PUJ and PUV routes. And for social economic and market, there should be an existing market for restaurant in the vicinity. And for we also consider the housing of employees that within a distance there should be a kanang possible na housing for employees. And for population, we consider the age demographic and the growth rate of the barangay which the site is located. And lastly is we consider the hazards, flood, landslide, and storm surge hazard levels from NOAA, Project NOAA. So next.
So, good evening, everyone. So, for our first site, we have here the site one, located in Lawaan to Talisay City, Cebu, alongside Cebu's South Coastal Road. The site is an interior lot and is relatively flat and undeveloped. Consists of a road right of way of around 7 meters wide, with small vegetation such as bananas, small trees, and bushes. The site is located beside a plaza hall, a hospital, and a mall within the 2 kilometer radius and is nearby the CBD located in Cebu Coastal Road. Has a population of 6,848 with an increasing growth rate of 2.70 as of 2020. The site has little to none hazard level when it comes to flood, landslide, and storm surges, and it is so far from the bay.
So for Site 2, it is located along Malvar Road, Puerto Princesa City, Palawan. So it's in a land where a concrete building was demolished 4 years ago, and it's in a corner lot where there is a traffic light in the intersection. And the road right of way have PUJ route and usually have low to medium traffic in rush hours. So for socioeconomic, it is located beside a mall and it is in a CBD. So the barangay population growth rate is decreasing with the age range of 20 to 24 making up to 80% of barangay population. And according to Project NOAA, the site has little to none hazard level on storm surge, landslide, and floods.
Okay, so for the site number three, it is located along the Palo Carigara or Moc City Road in Barangay Cogon or Moc City, Leyte. So for the physical attributes, the site is an interior lot, and beside it is a parking space, which is it can also be used as a for the Cebu like a Cebu Mercado, and for our market it's like a Quadro. So it is owned by the Robinson's Place or MOC, and the lot is connected with a major road connecting major cities such as Palo and also from the south, Alberta and Baybay. So the site consists of bushes and is under undeveloped. For the socio-economic aspect, the site is located beside the biggest mall in Ormoc, which with an increasing number of commercial low-rise buildings. So although there's a decreased growth rate in terms of population of the area, I mean the population is going down. However, the city's annual regular revenue is increasing. So this gives us the conclusion that the zoning of the area is changing from a residential area into a commercial zone. And for the hazard, the site has little to none hazards uh, in terms of storm surge, floods, and landslide. However, the nearest river is around 315 meters away, which is behind the lot. Okay, next slide.
So here's the table showing the points or the grading of each site. So for site one, we got 30 points. For site two, we got 36 points, and for site three, we have 38 points with a perfect score of 45 points. Next slide, please. So, so the selected site is Site 3, located in Barangay Cogon, Ormoc City. The site is located at a growing commercial area in the city of Ormoc. The proximity of the site consists of existing commercial buildings such as Robinson's Place Ormoc and Carositas Business Hotel. The population of the area is decreasing due to the fact that the zoning of the area is transitioning into a commercial zone from a residential zone.
Jim,
The
okay
city's
na, Jim?
annual regular.
Time na.
Uh, Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
That's a bit over na. So siguro sa next, ato na presentation, just like shorten and siguro the descriptions, reduce your reading, and Moto, the same like thing na criteria and his points should be kanang explained good. I think you did that, bro. I think we can improve it. Similar, just try to make it similar as katong previous groups, so group 5. I think that was the best one so far. But other than that, good job. You went a bit over time, but for that, I will give you on 28 tentative score. I'll review it again this evening. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Next, we have 28, 28 day walkers. Next is Borinaga, Carvajal, and Patriarca.
Okay, sir. Wait lang, sir.
Sige. Then after them, you have Cometa, Masbad, and Ortega. So prepare lang the next group. Sige. Oh man, I think we could hopefully finish by 6 so I can give like a bit more notes for next week.
For a while lang, sir. Lang ko, sir.
Sige. Sige. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Whew. So while we're waiting, so next week we'll focus on the final few topics, governance, heritage, and sustainability, like from a regional and urban planning perspective. And then also the final step of this kind of final project is the zoning map of your site. So I just made it smaller, like one lot. Sa akong thesis, it was like a whole kanang subdivision and like a whole like district. Pero I made it smaller for like undergrads. So that should be doable. And hopefully with this process, you'll have an idea as to kanang what are the different factors that you should consider when you're doing kanang site analysis, and not just do site analysis for the sake of doing site analysis, pero kanang really find meaningful things that impact your design and the form of your building. Okay, there it is.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. We are here to present our site selection. So for the project objectives and requirements, the site to be selected must have suited these 5 considerations to fully justify the location of the proposed 5-story commercial building. We want our site to be located in an urban area, a relatively flat lot, near and a walking distance to residential areas, and also can be used for future expansion. We also prioritize safety, including far from workplace hazards, and emergency response can easily reach the site. So most importantly, it is easily accessible through primary roads with low susceptibility of flood and a good drainage system. So for the site selection criteria definition, we divided the site criteria into 2 factors, physical and social economic factors. Under physical factors remains a significant site selection factor for land uses, including accessibility, utilities, aesthetic, and vulnerabilities to natural hazards. Then under socioeconomic and cultural factors, it is mainly about user circulation, safety and social standing, such as accessibility to important existing facilities and business districts, and also pedestrian access.
So for our site data and analysis, we have relate this to our objectives and requirements, so it is easier to grade the three sites. So what we have here is the three close-in neighborhoods of the three sites. We have Barangay Luz, Barangay Hipodromo, and Barangay Kamputao. So as you can see, the three barangays has a declining population graph pattern. The barangay which has declined more for the past 5 years is Barangay Kamputao. So this data can affect the criteria that needs to be chosen in the next slides. And in the right side is the flood hazard map, and the three sites is located in uh, the low susceptible part of the map. So when it comes to safetiness and low susceptibility to flood hazard, the three sites is in good condition. So next
Mm.
slide, please. So here it is. For our space requirements, the three sites has a check mark, site A, site B, and site C. And then for our site selection, it is strategically located in the city and near to the residential areas of the said barangays. And then for our topography, all the three sites has a gentle slope. Site A has an average of 0.6% slope. Site B has 0.4%, and then site C has 3.3%. Next
That's
slide.
very good. Where did you get the section?
Google Earth Pro, sir.
Ah, nah, that's Google Earth Pro. I need to try that out.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, very good.
Next is the accessibility. So for the jeepney roads, here are the jeepney roads for site B. We have 04L, 04M, 12L, 14D, 04C, and 17C. Then the jeepney roads for site A and C. There are no actual jeepney roads that mulabay gid siya sa mismo sa site, but there are kaning buses that have gone within the site, but we still don't know what kanang like unsa siya na sign.
Mm.
So that's it. Next.
So here is the site criteria rating table that we came up with the points and their corresponding rating for the natural, environmental, and physical factors. So Site B had the highest rating of points, and while in socioeconomic and cultural factor, Site A has the highest rating with 17 points. In total, Site A has the highest rating points with 55. So the chosen site is Site A in One Bantayan Road, Cebu City. The site selection shows that points added from the two major factors summarizes the highest and most suitable site for the proposed project, which is the Site A.
Okay, question. You have two tables there. How do they kind of relate to each other? So you have total sa kanang green. How does it impact the total of the blue table? So, or do you combine both? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We combine both, sir.
Combine that both. So
Like
38 or site B is 39 plus the total of kanang bali, the total of physical factors plus
yes.
the total of socioeconomic factors equals your kanang best selected site.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think maybe you can put that here sa last slide ninyo.
Okay,
How
sir.
what
Okay,
are
sir.
the total scores for everything? Okay, murag it's a bit confusing na kalit lang siya to site A. Okay, here sa socioeconomic, no, sorry, sa socioeconomic site B has the lowest score. Diba?
Yes, sir.
And your winner is also site B, no?
Site A.
Site B,
A,
sorry,
sir.
sorry. Yeah, moto nalipat kasi hard to see. Anyway, so kana siya. Very good, I think. So I think for this initial, I can also, I don't know why the afternoon group seems to be like better than the morning group. I don't know. Maybe mas awake ang mga tao or maybe, yeah. Okay. See, looks good. Kana lang, those notes I mentioned, apply it lang sa final and hopefully mahuman na ta. Okay, good.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
Thank you, sir.
no problem. So, very good, very clear. Next is kani si Cometa Masbad Ortega. Are you guys ready?
Wait lang, sir.
Sige. Also, Bornaga, Carvajal, and Patriarca, did you guys have a group name?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
PBC Fixers.
B, is that a B?
PBC Fixers.
PVC Fixers. Fixers. May magandang connotation sa kung mind if I hear fixers. Then the last group will be Laurente, Lota, and Paglinawan. Sige. Okay, it's this group.
Good afternoon. Ay. Good afternoon, everyone. We are Powerpuff Girls, and today I'll be your presenter or your speaker for the day. Next slide, please. So for the project objectives, so the objective of the proposed sites is to provide lots that are suitable for office development that generates income while also satisfying the wants and needs of both the employees and their desired customers or target market. So this side is the requirements to achieve this goal. So the site has a convenient vehicle and pedestrian access without causing traffic. This site is within the vicinity of accessing public transportation with ease. The site must be at least 2 kilometers away from necessary structures like hospitals, like fire stations, etc. The site has existing vegetation in order to reduce noise and air pollution. And lastly, the site has a good amount of sun and wind exposure for natural lighting and ventilation. Next slide, please. For the site selection criteria, we have 5 categories here, which are physical condition, which is 30% of the criteria, accessibility, 20%, social economic, which is 10%, utility support, which is 30%, and environment, which is 10%. So 3 is for excellent, 2 is for fair, and 1 is for unfavorable. So for the physical condition, this refers to the site's resistance against flooding, landslide, and storm surge. For accessibility, under accessibility, we have existing public transportation, road condition, and availability of services. So the availability of services here refers to the hospitals, the malls, etc. And for the social economic, under social economic is the market area, which is refers to the availability of target audiences. So if there are potential customers within the 2 kilometer radius, then it is a 3. And for the utility support, under utility support is water supply, power supply, communication or internet system, and sanitation system. And lastly, for the environment, under environment is the noise and vegetation. So if the site is not experiencing unnecessary noise, it will get 3 points. And for the vegetation, we focus here on the amount of excavation. So if the site does not need to be excavated, so you got 3, and 1 is for the if the site needs large excavation.
Okay, good.
And next is for the site analysis. Next slide, please. Since our location for 3 of the sites, it is located in one area. So for the population and economy, the all of the sites is gradually increasing. All sites located in a flat topography. Services like malls, hospitals, fire stations, etc. is within the 2 kilometer radius. Accessibility to road is also present in all sites. All sites have an access to public transportation. However, all sites experience heavy traffic. So in Project NOAA, flood hazard level of Site 1 and 2 is little to none, while for site 3 has low hazard. So as you can see in the diagram, like the portion of the site has a low hazard, like a yellow part there. And for the landslide hazard level and storm surge hazard level, all of the sites is little to none. Next slide, please. For the site selection grading, for physical condition, site 1 and site 2 got like all 3 points, while for site 3, it only got 26.67 since it is located in a like low susceptibility to flooding. For accessibility, all sites got like the perfect 3 points since which is they all got 20%. And for socioeconomic, since three of the sites are located in a business area and it is surrounded by establishments and residential, they all got the 10%. And for the utilities, since it is also located in the business district and it is adjacent to a road, they all got perfect in the utility support. And for the environment, site 2 and site 3 got 5%, while for site 1 got 6.67. So both site 1 and site 2 has like tolerable noise, while for site 3 it's since it is beside the what's that, like jeepney station kay like nag-siya yung noise diya, so like 1. And for the vegetation, both site 1 and site 3 kay what's that, na vegetation but little excavation lang, that's why it's 2. And 1 for site 2 since there's a tree in the middle, so greater excavation is needed. So for the total, site 1 got 96.67, site 2 got 95%, and site 3 got 91.67. So next slide, please. So for the selected site, so the winner is site 1, which got 96.67% with a lot area of 1,197 square meters, located nearby Ayala Center and surrounded by businesses and commercial buildings. So it scored excellent in all site criteria except for the environment. However, it still gets the highest percentage compared to other sites. And that's all.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Good. Sige, on under 7 minutes. I like the little graphics. I wasn't expecting that. I'm glad. That's good na. You inject a little bit of fun to it. Okay, we're learning, but at the same time, we try to keep it fun. So very good. I'm always impressed with the Powerpuff Girls. Very good job. Yeah, no comments. Very clean, but good. It's like it's finding that balance between providing like as much information without overloading your slides. So I think that's very good. Okay. Sige. PBC pictures. Okay. I think I spelled the PBC as in Borinaga. Okay. PPG gets 30. So I'm excited to see your next work sa kuan next sem. Okay. Master naman kayo mag site analysis. Sige. Our last group is Laurente, Lota, and Paglinawan. Oh, timer is still going. Stop. Reset. Sige, timer starts when you're ready, and then we'll have like a short summary discussion before 6:30 ends. Okay, just tell me when you're ready.
Madungog na, sir.
Yep, dungog na.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. So this is our group's progress of the final, or for this plate. We already did a layout on what to include in the 5 pages. So first is the project objective. We considered, or this is considered a mixed-use commercial building. So the objective is to select a site that is suitable for a 5-story office building with a commercial restaurant. So to determine which site is the best among the choices, we have here the standards or requirements that should be satisfied. First is an ample space of the lot for the office building. In our case, we have a limit of 1,000 to 2,000 square meters. So next is to choose a site with minimum hazard for the safety. And then it should be accessible for everyone, both the pedestrian and people using vehicles. and also for people who uses public transport. And lastly, the available utilities must be there. So urban areas like this do have existing utilities such as the water supply lines, sewage lines, power lines, and telecommunication lines. So next is our criteria on how we are going to judge or choose the best site out of the options we have.
Hello. So these are the criteria that we have gathered for site selection. So for physical factors, accessibility on how accessible is the site. Physical constraints, are there problems that have existed that distract weather, ventilation, or lighting going to the site? And are there any problems with the land conditions? Next, we have utilities on how close or available existing utilities are to the site, meaning how close are terminals, jeepney stops, pedestrian lanes, etc. And lastly, we have hazards to see how vulnerable is the site to different hazards. And we base our findings on the NOAA website. And so for social economic factors, is it good for employees to work in the proposed site, or are there any developments in the area that might affect the site? And out of all of these, we chose four categories to determine which site is the best for the project. So we have accessibility, utility, hazards, and market. And we will be grading them as follows: 0 for unacceptable and 4 for excellent. So next slide.
For the site analysis, for Site 1, it is located beside Zenith Central in the Cebu Business Park along the Luzon Avenue, Cebu City, Cebu. So there are four factors that we considered. First is the accessibility and the physical factor. For Site 1, it is good for pedestrians since there are pedestrian walks and sidewalks all over the area. And it can also be accessed by any means, whether by walking or by vehicles that include the service trucks. It is also in a corner lot, which is a good thing for commercial buildings. And the site is surrounded by different commercial buildings, including Ayala Center, which is right in front of the site. And for its utilities, it is right next to a road right of way. So different utility lines are available in this area. The water supply lines, sewage, power lines, and telecommunication lines. And for commercial buildings, it is good to have a good internet access. So it is in the central, or it is in the Cebu Business Park. So internet access is good there. And PUV terminal also is located within a walking distance lang. And for the hazards, based on NOAA, this site is not prone to any hazards. The flooding may come close, but it doesn't really hit the site itself. And for its market area, the fact that it is within a business district, it is safe to assume that the office building will have a positive growth in the future. And the residential buildings are also located nearby. That includes apartments, houses, and condominiums. And the population of Cebu City is also increasing based on the latest census. So most likely the target users will also increase. And for the site 2,
The site 2 is located in Tipolo, Barangay Tipolo, Mandaue City. So in the site analysis of site 2, and under physical factors, the accessibility is accessible by both public and private vehicles because it is along Owano Avenue Road. Uh, Park Mall, which is across from the proposed site, includes a bus terminal, making it simpler for customers to reach. The proposed site is convenient to residential areas, commercial areas, and a shopping mall, hospitals, and a school. The proposed site is currently has sidewalks, making it walkable to the surrounding area. Because the proposed site is now unused, it has access to an open area that may be subject to future expansion. Under utilities, because of its proximity to the major road, the proposed site has access to public sewer lines, city drainage lines, and telecommunication connections. In hazard, according to the nationwide operational assessment of hazards, the project site has a minimal chance of flooding. In storm surge, advisory 1 to 3 has little to none risk during the storm surge hazard level. However, advisory 4 has a potential to be affected by the storm surge due to its proximity to the Mactan Channel. The proposed site Largely flat topography eliminates the possibility of a landslide. In socio-economic factors, market area, the area will become a business park as a result of ongoing construction of the largest project in the vicinity of the proposed site, which is Mandani Bay, and will eventually benefit from the proposed project. Because it is the home of some area's largest businesses, Barangay Tipolo in Mandaue City is known as largest commerce. As the result, the location itself have a potential to become a commercial zone of Mandaue City. As of today, many of businesses establishments has been built near the proposed site, which may have an impact on the proposed project. According to the population map, Barangay Tipolo's population has decreased since 2015 and will continue to decline until 2020, a drop of 3,050 persons from the previous population of 18,840 in 2015.
Hello. So for Site 3 is located in Cebu Business Park between the Cebu Holding Center and Global
Time na.
Company.
Medyo nakaon ang time sa site analysis kay a bit too ready. So summarize lang, palihog, Joshua.
Sige, sir. So, same as Site 1, it is pedestrian friendly. Like, it can be accessible by service, private, public vehicles, also accessible by hotels, condominiums, and apartments, and it is surrounded by multiple commercial buildings. Also, Site 3 is along one of the main roads of Cebu Business District, and since it is located at Cebu Business Park, we have access to existing water supply, so sewage, power lines, and telecommunication lines. Also, based on NOAA, there is no possible landslide and storm surge in the proposed site. So for market area, since Site 3 is located at Cebu Business Park, having this, the site is best for building our project, which is the commercial building. And also the proposed office building will be a great fit because it can be easily be accessed by a lot of hotels, condominiums, call center agencies,
Faster pa,
and,
sorry. 8 na.
and big establishments. So
Okay, next
next
slide.
slide.
So in site grading, in site 1, we graded in accessibility 4, in utilities 4, hazards 4,
Let's
market
go to
areas
the
4.
totals.
So the total of 16, while in site 2 is the total of 12, and site 3 is in total of 15. So next slide, please. So the selected site is site 1 because of its
Total
has
scores.
the highest total scores in site grading.
Okay, good. So do you guys have, I have like one more kanang a few more like notes here. So katong nag-show mo sa site analysis, I couldn't see where the site was. Wala siya na highlights yung images. So that was like the site analysis page. Like there, I can't see where the site is because the site is so small on the image. So that's just a note for the final na reduce the words, increase the images. Para di mo magbasa, so you talk about the site instead of reading off the page. Para it will be faster as well. Let me see here. And then sa first page ninyo, first page yun. There, sa beginning yun. So you say minimum hazard. I think it would be better to say mitigate hazard or limit hazard. You want to have a minimum hazard bitaw. So more to a bit too kanang wordy again. So for your group, I'll give you guys, but the data is there, just a bit too wordy. I'll give you guys 20 each. Do you guys have a group name?
PLL.
PLL, sige, PLL. Kaya na may JLL, na po'y PLL. Okay. Sige. So, that's already there ang data. I think we just need to improve our kanang presentation. Okay. So we have 15 minutes. I have 15 minutes with you guys. Let's talk about like presentation and then so one thing that I noticed is good that all the population data is there. Some presentations focus on the city level, some presentations focus on the barangay level. I think we'll try to like consolidate. Based on our presentations, I think Nindut, if we have a city and barangay level, wait, I'll just share my screen. So we have two options to show population analysis. Okay, this is where kind of urban and regional planning really wants to study, like population data. So let's say, okay, over here. So I know some of you, it's difficult to determine what's the barangay of your site. So something like this, a population analysis. Analysis. So my preferred method of analysis would be kanang show city and barangay, city/municipality data. Municipality data. And barangay data. So just the graphs will be okay. Or if you don't have municipality or barangay data, maybe kuan. Option 2 is the province compared to the city data. Because it's good that we're looking at the different populations, but we need like just a little bit more analysis. Why do we need to do this? So I'll show you. Okay, I'm trying out that section thing that was mentioned in the other group. So why do we need to look at two sets of population? Because if we look at two sets of population data, we can figure out whether that population is kanang where that population is going, or where it's coming from, or where is it leaving. If it's like, if it's negative, where is it leaving? If it's positive, where are they coming from? So very easily, this is population data for Talamban. So if we see that the population data is increasing, or more or less has a positive trend at 0.8%, then we compare it with the city data, Cebu City Phil Atlas. We can say that population over here. So Talamban and Cebu City show na Talamban, the barangay, and Cebu City show that population is increasing. So we can say that people in Cebu City are moving into Talamban because like it's positive growth in the city and also positive growth in the barangay. But if you look at Barangay Luz, Phil Atlas, we can say that people are moving out of Barangay Luz, but they're still staying within the city. So decrease of about let's see, minus 2.58%. That's from 18,000 to 16,000, meaning they're leaving Barangay Luz, but they're still within the city. So if your site is located within Cebu City, that means it's positive. Okay, what happens if you don't have the barangay data, or if you don't know where your barangay, where your site is, what barangay your site is located in? So you just look at Cebu province. Let's look at the provincial data, Atlas. So we can say if it's positive, go down here. So in the case of what they call this, any project in Cebu City, since Cebu City is increasing in population, we can say that people in decreasing there. We can say that provincial-wide population is decreasing. Oh, that's Barangay Luz, sorry. Where's Cebu province? This is Cebu province? Cebu province, here we go. So Cebu province is now at 3.3 million people with a growth rate of 2.63. Compared to Talamban, it's no, not Talamban. That's compared to Cebu City. So it's either province and city or city and barangay. If you compare barangay to province, it's not very accurate. Okay? The barangay is like so much smaller compared to the province. Much better if you compare things that are closer in scale. So if it's growing in Cebu City and growing in Cebu province, it means a lot of people are coming into Cebu City. Let's look at another province, another city in Cebu province. I wish they had like different names. One that has a declining growth rate. Okay, so we have one. So Sambuan. So Cebu province is increasing, So very likely people are leaving Sambuan and going to these other municipalities. So most likely everyone is going to the one with the highest growth rate. So over here, that's people are coming into Liluan, Toledo, Santa Fe, Moalboal, and Cordova. So that's very interesting. So a lot of people are moving away from where is kanang Sambuan. Sambuan municipality. Got the map. So with this like quick analysis, let's look at the top 5 kanang least growing cities. So Sambuan is in the southwest of the province. Let's look at Tudela. Oops, sorry. Tudela. Tudela is over here. This is also part of Cebu province, apparently. It's the northeast. Let's look at Malabuyok. We have here, south. So very likely like the periphery of the province, meaning the outer edges. We have here Oslob, Sambuan, Tudela. They're all coming to, in some shape or form, either Cebu City, Mandaue City, or Lapu-Lapu City. So they're going into this. Let me just draw a quick snip here. People are moving from across the province into like this area here, the, let's say, Metro Cebu area, to be like more simple. So whether you locate your kanang project, your 5-story office building, if it's anywhere within the Metro Cebu area, like Cebu City, Mandaue City, and Lapu-Lapu City, very likely you'll have enough population to support it. So this is just looking at provincial and municipal data. If you have the kanang barangay data, so if we'll just bring up a map, barangay map of Cebu City, we can easily say based on the population data here, that's not HD, very likely we have people leaving this area and probably going up something like this. Maybe, and also like that. Let's look at Cebu City. Let's look at the growth rate or percent change. So this is Barangay Central, Parian, and Kalubihan. That is this area over here, the old city center. And the highest growth areas are, let's see, Budlaan, Pulang Bato, Bagbag, and Busay. That's more closer to the mountain areas. So let me just change my pen to green. So this is the high growth areas here. And then this is the low growth area. So people are leaving the like very mountainous areas and moving into like sort of the center of the island. And most likely it's because if we look at Cebu City, everything here is built up. So people are spreading upwards. But in terms of your kanang office building, you can still build here in the kanang closer to Ayala, IT Park, because those are business districts. And regardless of where people live, most of the people will be working in the business district. So business districts are still always here, but the residential areas are going further away. So something like that. If you include either barangay municipal data together or municipal and provincial data together. So we'll discuss further on that next week, like how do we present that? I have no more time here. I'll be preparing like how do we combine the different line graphs? So we have one graph. So instead of like 3 graphs, we just have one graph. So like we have more space on the page. But anyway, very good presentations. Let me just take a quick look at your midterm grades here. So far, I think we only have, this is group 2. Okay, everyone's fine in group 2. Wait, we have one. We have one student. I know I won't name you na lang, pero you can still catch up. I think I already talked to you before. But everyone else doing pretty good. No one is failing in this class. So hopefully I'll see you all next sem. So, but for now,